Most people assume that if you want to be a high achiever with money and life, you need to have rich parents, you need to look a certain way, you need to be born in a certain neighborhood, and you need to act a certain way, but that's not true. If you want to be a high achiever when it comes to money and life, you need three things. Number one, you need the right mindset. Number two, you need the right work ethic. And number three, you need the right discipline, because no matter how many times you see people on the internet talking about how you can make $1 million a year doing nothing but sitting on a beach in Aruba and post these faceless YouTube videos, it takes hard work, it takes discipline, and it takes the right mindset. So let's start by talking about how do you build the right mindset to be a high achiever in money and life. Starting with you building the right mindset, there's three things that you have to understand. Number one is getting away from the doom mindset. Number two, building a growth mindset. And number three, staying away from what I call whoop. So let's start by talking about this doom mindset. A lot of people in today's society, and I don't know if this is a new thing or if this has been around forever, but a lot of people have this mindset where when something goes wrong, the whole world is ending. And I'll give you a little story. A couple weeks ago, my brother got a brand new turban. We call it a pagadi, or a pug for short in my native language, Punjabi, and it was this pink colored turban. So he goes to wash this new turban because we get a new turban. You want to get all the other chemicals and starches off of it. So you wash the turban, and he washed it with a white towel that he had. So he washes his turban and comes out, and now he has a pink turban and a pink towel. It went in white and it came out pink. And he was showing everybody, and everyone was like, oh no, you just ruined your towel. And my brother goes, wait, what are you talking about? I just got a brand new towel that I didn't have to pay for. I had a white towel, now I got a brand new pink towel. It's that mindset of when things go wrong, what do? Do you hate the world? Or do you find the solutions and find the opportunity with what you get? Because the reality is when it comes to money and life, things will go wrong. It's a fact of life. And when things go wrong, the people that see the most success, that see the most happiness, that see the world in a happy way, are able to see the most success. Because, well, that's how life works. In business, I kind of have a funny running joke that anytime I start something new, I get scammed. I get screwed over. It's a part of, I don't know, just me that always happens. When I started my event planning company in college, the first party that I was ever throwing at a club, the club got shut down the night before my party. I had spent months and a lot of money getting ready, getting promoting, getting everything set up for this party. The night before the event, the club gets shut down and all my promotions go to waste. And I had to find a brand new place to host the party the day of. It was a very stressful time. I ended up losing money on that event, but I got started and then I had to get back up and keep going, even though I lost money in the beginning. When I started investing in real estate, I had my worst real estate deal ever, which was a nightmare deal. I made a video about it on YouTube. It was a complete just headache, stressful deal. It was the only deal that I ever lost money on. It wasn't my first deal, it was my third deal, but I kept going and I got back up, and that was the reason why now I'm able to do much bigger deals. It wasn't because that I gave up after that, but because I kept going, even though something bad happened. I was running an e-commerce company and I got scammed by a fake marketing company. And because I got scammed by a fake marketing company, I ended up going onto the internet and I started a class called How to Launch a Business Without Getting Screwed Over. And I did it under the alias minority mindset, because if you want to become successful, well, you have to think differently than the majority of people. Well, that was then the spark for the minority mindset brand that I have today. So the reason why I have this channel and the reason why I'm on YouTube in front of you today is because I got scammed and screwed over in a previous business. So you have to understand that when things go wrong, it's not the end of the world, but it's an opportunity for you to find the good opportunity. But you have to make that decision of how are you going to look at the world? Is it that everything is horrible and everything is wrong and everything is against you? Or is it that everything is an opportunity? Now, it's just the way that you look at the world, and sometimes it's your mental health that stops you from seeing the world in a better light. But you have to start rewiring the way you think. I don't have a ton of content on that mindset side of stuff on my channel, but there's a lot of people on YouTube that talk about that. So if you struggle with this, go out and watch some of that content. Read personal development books and start studying different ways that you can rewire the way that you think. The second thing that you need to do is you got to start thinking about your growth mindset. Because what most people think is when it comes to money, well, if I make, let's just say, $50,000 a year, and now I can save and put aside $10,000 and now I start investing this money. Well, if I want more money to invest, if I want more money to put aside for my wealth, I need to put aside more money. So now you're going to put aside maybe $20,000. You're going to live off of $30,000 and put aside $20,000 for building wealth because you want to build wealth sooner. But there's a limit to how many pennies that you can pinch. There's a limit to how much you can squeeze out of this limited pie. But there's no limit to how big you can grow the pie. So now the alternative is, instead of making $50,000 a year, you're working to make $500,000 a year. That way now you can put aside $100,000 towards your savings and your investments. Now you might hear that and say, but Jaspreet, how in the world am I going to go from $50,000 to $500,000? Well, it's not going to happen overnight. But when you build that growth mindset, now you're thinking a little bit differently, because you're not just thinking of how can you squeeze more pennies out of this pie. You're thinking of how can I grow the pie. And in order to do this, you got to start changing the way that you think about money. Because if you're constantly thinking about, oh, this person's going to make money off of me. Oh, how much is this person getting? Oh, I can't believe that this person's rich. Oh, I hate rich people. Oh, money is bad. Oh, money is greedy. Oh, I don't want to do all this stuff. When you think like this about money, you're never going to have a chance to go from $50,000 to $500,000, because you're constantly stopping yourself, because you're constantly putting this block there because, well, you're seeing what other people have and you're not willing to understand how they did it, and instead you're hating on people who do it, or you're constantly just focused on what other people are getting instead of focusing on your own pie. The third part about building a wealthy mindset is avoiding the whooped mindset, which is, what will other people think? This one sentence has killed more dreams than any alarm clock. And the thing that you need to understand about whooped is, well, people are going to judge you no matter what you do. Guess what? I'm on YouTube. People judge me for the color turban that I'm wearing. People judge me for the way that I look. People judge me for the way that I speak. People judge me for the clothes that I wear. It's a fact of life. Even if you're not on social media, they're going to be judging you as well. And the thing is, you're going to be judged for what you do, and you're also going to be judged for what you don't do. So now, if people are going to judge you no matter what, you might as well give them something good to talk about. And in that case, you might as well build that wealth for yourself, because if they're going to be talking, might as well give them something juicy to talk about. And this one is difficult, because many times we grow up being told, oh, don't do this. Other people are going to look at you weird, or other people are going to say something if you do this, or what are people going to think or say if you act a certain way? Well, here's the reality. People are going to talk no matter what. So you might as well go out and do something that makes you happy, that makes you wealthy, and that allows you to live your life the way that you want, so that way you can get away from this whooped worries. The second part of the equation to become a high-achieving person, whether it comes to money or life, is you need a strong work ethic. And this one is difficult, because you have a lot of people on the internet selling this whole idea that you can live this rich life without having to put in any work. You work for 5 hours a week and now you can make $10,000 a month. Well, let me tell you something. If you come from a place where you don't have rich parents, you don't have somebody guiding you financially, you don't have entrepreneurial family members that can show you how to build a business, and you don't have all this education and tools given to you, you're going to have to make up for it with your work ethic, which means you're going to have to work hard. Because if people are given a golden ticket, they're not going to have to work as hard. And if you don't have the golden ticket, well, you're going to have to make up for it with work ethic. Now, let me tell you something. Most people are not born with a silver spoon in their mouth or a golden spoon in their mouth. And now you can hate the fact that you don't have that, or you can use it as an opportunity. Remember what we talked about with the mindset? Because the reality is, too much money is also a disease. Because when you have all this money, you don't know how to protect it, you don't know how to grow it, and you don't know how to keep it. But when you have the work ethic, now you're willing to put in the work that other people aren't willing to do. Not only are you going to know how to build that wealth, but you're also going to know how to keep and grow that wealth, because you had to put in the work to get it. Now, if you want to get that wealth, if you want to see that success, you've got to be willing to put in the work. And I know a lot of people, especially in today's society, don't really like talking about the idea of working hard. Oh, I don't want to have to go into the office. Oh, I shouldn't have to work on Saturdays. Oh, you mean have to work on a holiday? Listen. You want to become successful, you got to do what other people are not willing to do. For the first 10 years of my entrepreneurial career, I worked on every holiday. I worked on weekends. I worked on evenings. I worked on mornings. I worked every single day. I still, even today, work every single day. Now I have the option today to take some days off. But you got to be willing to do what other people are not willing to do if you want to see the success that other people dream of having. I mean, just think about it in terms of math. if you want to be a part of the 1%, you can't keep doing what the other 99% of people are doing. Because if the other 99% of people are complaining, talking about how hard they have to work, talking about how they don't want to have to put in all this extra effort, well, start doing what only 1% of people are willing to do. And now, once you start to see more success, then you can start to take more breaks. Then you can start to decide when you want to work. Then you can take some time off. But until you get there, you better start putting in that work. I'm going to jump back into the video in just 1 second, but before we do, if you are an investor and you're looking for an easy and free way to stay up to date on what's happening in the top financial news, from the economy to the housing market to the stock market to the crypto market to the global economy, then you have to check out Market Briefs. Market Briefs is my free financial newsletter that I created that will keep you up to date on what's happening in the financial news. You can read the newsletter in less than 5 minutes every morning. It's a fun and easy to read email, and it's completely free. So if you haven't joined Market Briefs yet, I got the link to how you can join down in the description below. And the third piece of the puzzle to become a high achieving person financially and in life is you got to have the discipline. Now there's a lot of ways to take a look at discipline, but let's talk about financial discipline. Financial discipline means I make $1,000. Now, I don't spend $1,000 because what most people do is they have what I call a net zero mindset, where when I make $1,000, I got to spend $1,000. But what wealthy people do is they say, okay, I made $1,000. I don't want to spend all $1,000 because that's my hard-earned money going away. I want this hard-earned money to make me more money. So what wealthy people do is first they say, you know what? I'm going to invest $150 because this $150 is going to go out to make me a little bit more money. Now you can invest this money into stocks, real estate, your own business. There's a lot of places that you can invest. I have a ton of videos on my channel where I talk about how to do that, so I'm not going to go over that in this video. You're going to put $150 to work. Then they say, you know what, I'm going to save $100 for emergencies because, well, sometimes life happens and I want to have a financial cushion. That way I have some cash to fall back on. I don't have to worry about going into debt. Then they say, you know what, I'm going to have $750 here to spend. But because I got $750 to spend does not mean I'm going to go out and finance a whole bunch of stuff. I'm going to only live off of the $750. Meaning if I want to go out and buy a $1,000 iPhone and I want to afford it, I'm not going to pay $60 a month. Although I could buy that monthly payment, you can't actually afford the phone. So now if you want to be able to actually afford something, that means now maybe I only go out and I buy a $150 used phone. Because yeah, you can find a used phone for $150. It might not be the newest model. It might not be last year's model. It might be a few years old, but it'll get the job done. And now the question is, how are you willing to do this and how long are you willing to do this? Because if you're willing to stay disciplined, now number one, you're not going to have to worry about making all the payments. Number two, you're going to be buying things that you can afford. And number three, you're going to be working to build your wealth. And if you're willing to stick with this for a little while, now what's a little while? I like to call it a decade of sacrifice. If you're willing to stick with this mindset of constantly living below your means for a decade, because building wealth is a lifestyle, it's not something you do for 6 months. Now, after a decade, you're going to be able to build a sizable amount of wealth. And by wealth, I don't just mean a savings account. I mean an investment account that's working to produce you a new income. And now, what you'll see is because you're making more income, not just because of your job, but because of your investments that you have, now you can start to live a little bit bigger. Not because you're working hard for the money, but because your money is working hard to earn you more money. That's what the discipline allows you to do. It allows you now to live below your means, even though your friends are going off partying in Cancun, even though everybody's telling you you're weird for not going out to eat, even though you're making a good salary. It's because now you want to put in that sacrifice to invest your money first. And if you stick with this while you're working to earn more money, you keep investing more, you keep saving more, well, pretty soon you're going to have a whole new stream of income and you're going to be able to do all the fun stuff without worrying about the price, because you're going to have the money coming in without you having to work for it. That's what financial discipline allows you to do.
A couple months ago, I was shopping for an Airbnb and I found an Airbnb that I wanted. I'm actually recording this in an Airbnb right now, but I found an Airbnb that I wanted and I reserved the Airbnb. Now, what I didn't realize what was going to happen was they took a huge deposit, which I didn't really think that was a big deal because I was going to take that Airbnb anyways. The Airbnb was listed as a 3-bedroom. I needed a 3-bedroom Airbnb.